The Blue Jewel.
Chapter 5. Party 8. Arian hesitated for a moment where to continue his desperate escape and decided to take the road that passed through a small alley. Surely it would lead to an exit from the market. He had to return to the king's villa. There he would be safe. But it was a mistake to enter that alley, as there was no way out and something much worse. There was nowhere to hide. There were only the 3 huge empty walls. The 2 of them walked up to the wall that blocked their way to freedom. Arian slammed the wall in anger. Luck had turned its back on her, and the young woman watched fearfully at the entrance to the alley, waiting from one moment to the next to see the figure of the magician. Vanus then grabbed her hand tightly, and Arian looked at her in surprise, but didn't open his mouth. The touch of the Kendali's hand was cold and velvety but firm. Vanus in his usual whisper commanded, "Hold on tight to my hand, stick as much as you can to the wall, and don't make the slightest noise." Arian only felt a strong heat coming from the Kendali and tried to do as Vanus had ordered. Darius calmly followed the 2 figures. He knew the market quite well and knew that they would not escape easily. If it was really that young woman, he would never thank the gods enough. He couldn't hide his triumphant smile as he watched as those 2 figures, who obviously didn't know Thames Market well, were entering a dead end. So he moved forward in a very serene way, savoring the moment, but once he entered the interior of the alley he could not hide his great disappointment. There was no one inside. It was impossible. He had seen them enter the alley and there was no way out. Climbing was in principle impossible, unless they were witches or had arcane powers. He walked over to the wall that closed the alley. He was frustrated. That damn little girl had slipped away again. It couldn't be. At least she was clear about her next step. That damn one would try to find a boat with which to leave Beer. He must have been pleased. This afternoon he would speak with the magician in charge of the Order of the White Robes of this city, who had great influence over the King of Beer. They would search every ship that left this city. It would be theirs and the jewel they were looking for as well. Satisfied by this idea, the wizard hurriedly left the alley to make his way to his order's headquarters in Thame. They had to be quick to prevent Arian's escape. Agnorak noticed the strange figure of a magician, a white robe. What a bunch of assholes. He didn't like magicians, but that sect certainly less. He decided to follow his instinct and followed that magician at a distance. Something told him that he was involved in the disappearance of the girls. When he saw Darius stop and smile before entering the alley, the half-orc hesitated whether he should kill him right then and there. Time against a mage was key. They had to be killed before they could recite a spell. There was no one to observe them, but it was a white robe and those mags used to have a lot of contacts and power. Killing him for no specific reason was foolhardy, so he stayed at a safe distance watching his steps. He saw how he entered the alley. The half-orc got as close as he could. It seemed that the wizard was quite angry about something. He expected to find something or someone in the alley, but it was completely empty. Agnorak knew that he was not far off the mark. After a few minutes, the wizard seemed to give up his search and left the alley at a hurried pace to disappear into the crowd of the market. The half-orc hesitated to follow him, but his priority was to find the 2 young women, since he did not know where they were. But the one whose whereabouts he did know very well was that of Gosberg, who would surely be in the tavern that was next to the fabric store. He would warn him and together they would look for his 2 friends. When Arian and Vanus came out of the alley, they ran to Gosberg, who was still in the room drinking quietly, while Agnorak stood beside him with a serious expression. The half-orc was waiting for the Denker to finish off his cup so he could go in search of him. Agnorak was very happy to see her again. He was frankly worried. You see, Agnorak, the most sensible thing to do was to stay here and wait for them. Gosberg told him without giving the slightest importance to what had happened. The eyes of the half-orc and the young woman met. Arian suspected that Agnorak knew something, but neither of them said anything, and as if nothing had happened they all returned to the villa. Although they were safe in the villa of the king of Demember, the fright for Arian was too great. He had to leave Tame immediately. But even so, the enormous power of the Kendeli had her in awe. Something that seemed to make Vanus uncomfortable, who as always was reserved and shy. "How did you do that, Ali?" At last he asked Arian, who had avoided talking about the incident, but could no longer resist his curiosity about the Kendeli's powers. Since they were alone in their room, Vanus was a little more open. "It's a power that we Kendelis have." Vanus took off his robe for the first time and Arian could see her figure, well, her silhouette, since she was like a black shadow in 3 dimensions. She was a woman with a slender silhouette, much taller than when she had the robe. She moved gracefully, but above all those yellow sclera eyes and large cat's pupils stood out. "It's amazing!" Arian exclaimed admiringly. "It is a shadow spell that hides our traits. Our true nature is only revealed to other Kendelis." And with that said, the Kendeli transformed into a huge eagle that perched softly on the bed. To Arian's astonishment, the eagle spoke with the characteristic whisper of the Kendeli. "We can transform into any animal or thing. That was the number my parents and I made. I was a huge eagle that transformed into a dragon." The Kendeli reverted to its silhouette form of a young man. Arian couldn't react. He knew they were mysterious beings, but not that much. What actually happened in the alley is as follows. Vanus took a vase in his hands and closed his eyes. To the young woman's admiration, the Kendeli and the vase disappeared, although they were surely inside the room. At that moment, without knocking, Gosberg entered the room. "Good damsels, the Lasgama has told me that we will sail in a week's time.